We will now officially go into the hearing of this subcommittee. I call this hearing of the Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee of the House Foreign Affairs Committee to open, and I will be having opening remarks. We will then have short opening remarks from members of the committee, and then we will go to our panel of witnesses. And I'm Congressman Dana Verbacher. I welcome you to this hearing. And as we move from the briefing on the April attack, it should be noted that Camp Ashraf has, for more than 20 years, been the home of 3,400 members of the Mujahideen-e-Khalq. That's MEK, a key opposition group working against the radical Islamic Iranian dictatorship. Read that. The 3,400 members of or residents of Camp Ashraf are declared enemies of the mullah dictatorship in Iran, which is a very significant fact to keep in mind when paying attention to try to figure out what's going on. Camp Ashraf residents were promised protection under the Fourth Geneva Convention by senior U.S. commanders in the aftermath of the liberation of Iraq as we kicked out Saddam Hussein. Sovereignty was turned over to the Baghdad government in 2004, and with it the transfer of responsibility for Camp Ashraf. When our congressional delegation discussed this situation with Iraq's Prime Minister Maliki in Baghdad last month, his authority to govern, and the sovereignty of the people of Iraq over their territory was not an issue. We in no way quarreled with that. How the Iraqi government exercises its authority, however, is a matter of grave concern. The use of excessive force, murder, massacres, and other such tactics is an illegitimate use of force on the face of it. What happened on April 8th was an excessive use of force. It was an illegitimate use of power on its face. Using troops and armored vehicles against unarmed civilians conjures up memories of Tiananmen Square in communist China, not the kind of democratic rule that Americans have fought so long and hard, that we have dedicated such of our own blood and treasure to try to create a more democratic society. It certainly isn't reflected in what happened at Camp Ashraf on April 8th. The wholesale murder of unarmed refugees simply cannot be ignored. After the attack, the State Department asserted that the, quote, crisis and loss of life was initiated by the government of Iraq and the Iraqi military, end of quote. But what about before the attack? Was the U.S. Embassy or the commander of U.S. forces in Iraq notified of the Iraqi military buildup outside the camp or of their intentions? Was the Iraqi government contacted? Did they contact us? If so, what was the response? What response did we give them? And what was the Iraqi response if we questioned them? Why was a United States unit deployed at Camp Ashraf ordered away just hours before the attack? We would like to have asked the State Department these questions. We'd have liked them to have had a witness here, an official that could have talked to us about this and been on the record in answering these important questions. But we were told that no one was available to testify today at this hearing. How convenient. This stonewalling can only go so far before it becomes a cover-up. And yes, illegalities, not just of the Iraqi military, who murdered civilians, who committed a massacre, but of the acquiescence by the United States and the United States officials in this crime is part of the story.